All right, we're rolling.
What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. And y'all are basically listening or watching to a podcast from like the bravest dude right now. Because one, we have a Spurs fan, and they just beat Arsenal in the London Derby, so probably not going to hear the end of that. Even when this podcast is over and you stop listening to it, you're going to still hear that. And I have a Southampton fan who Man Utd just drew with, and it just ruined our chances of getting a European spot. Not permanently, but close enough. But let me just do the preliminary stuff. Podcast is on All Things Comedy, so go to All Things Comedy, and you go there. They'll have a host of other podcasts. Al Magical has a podcast. Bill Burr has a podcast. Danish and O'Neill have a podcast. Kate Quigley, that's Date Fails. They just have some of the top comics in the country that have podcasts there. So go there after you listen to this and check them out. You can also see this podcast on YouTube. Just type in Ian Edwards or Ian Soccer Comic Rant Edwards. You can listen to this podcast on Art 15. If you're not listening to it on Art 19, my bad, it's pretty new. Art 19, if you're not listening to it on Art 19, you can listen to it there. I wonder if we still go to iTunes. I got to check. And Spotify and all those other places, but I'll check on that. Or you just check on that. Let me know. And the sponsor for the podcast is onthevalleyapparel.com. It's a clothing line for people who play soccer. And they have hoodies, tanks, T-shirts, and sweatshirts with hip-hop soccer logos on them. So go there and check it out. Use my promo code ComicRant and you get 20% off. And let me just introduce my two mortal enemies for the episode. And before I introduce them, I'd say thank you, Aaron Brungardt, the producer, for hooking this up again, doing this thing. And probably didn't give me COVID. Probably somebody else did. So I think he's clean. But yeah, I've been feeling like I had COVID all week. But that's not the point. The point is we have Lee Hudson, comic from England here, Southampton supporter. And Martin, happy, hasn't been happy in a long time. 442 magazine, writing, Hunt movie, guest star appearing or acting in, and video game voicer, Martin Harris. What up, Martin?
Hey, not happy yet. It was a positive experience for sure, but not happy yet. I was pretty unhappy before that game. So,
what will make you happy? Mourinho gone?
I mean, winning the title would make me happy, but being top four would make me happy, and I don't think that will happen. And seeing a progress, seeing I would say a progress that goes beyond just one game. That there are seeds planted of a team that is going the right direction, and I'm still not sure. Still not sure that's what's happening. So I'm still very. As a matter of fact, you planted the seeds of doubt in Mourinho in my head, and they're growing.
So, I planted the truth in you.
Growing constantly. So.
You said you want to see seeds of growth. Where are you on the table right now?
8.
8. I see seeds of growth in this team that'll make you 6 next year. Does that make you happy?
No. It won't make me happy. I think
that is growth
this year. I think
that is
this year, but that's not good enough.
It's better than 8th where you're at right now.
It is better than 8th, but it's not even the position in the table. It's more a consistent vision of what we're trying to do as a team. Because the fact that the best player on the field and the hero of the first win against Arsenal in I think 3 years or something like that.
Damn.
The fact that the guy who was our best player and scored the most important goal wouldn't even be on the field if Eric Dyer wasn't suspended for 4 games. So that fact alone tells me that there's a long way to go. Yeah.
You think Alderweireld was your best player?
Yeah, I do.
The whole game?
I would say so. Yeah, I would say since he was introduced back to the roster, which he never should have left. Our defensive game was much better without Dyer and with Alderweireld. And Ivan and Vertonghen were 2 of the best center backs of the decade in the Premier League, and there's no reason to doubt why they're not still very good one. So
Let me ask you a question, Lee. Don't you have to like win a trophy or something to get nominated best center backs duo of the decade in a league when there's center backs in the league that have won trophies? That's just my question. What do you think, Lee?
Let me just add to that, but because I know let me just add to that. There were a lot of teams winning titles, but they didn't have a consistent two players that played together so well as those two. Plus, they played also on Belgian national teams. So I'm talking about a combo. I'm not talking about them winning trophies, but I think overall, when you look at, let's say, Chelsea winning titles, they had different partnerships. They had different types. They had John Terry first, then David Luiz was in one of the winning title-winning teams. Then you had Leicester. They had Morgan and Huth. You can't tell that they were better than Vertonghen and Alderweireld on the long run. And a few other teams, you know. The City, they had fantastic offensive players. I wouldn't say both center backs are arguably better than Vertonghen and Alderweireld. So I think overall, I would say they were the best. In the long run, they were consistent.
Where was this duo against that game that you needed to win against Chelsea when Leicester won the title? Where was this duo when Arsenal passed them to finish second in a two-horse race? I'm just asking. You said this, so I'm just probing the question, just kicking the ties of the question, checking to see if it's a real statement or not. That's all.
No, I agree with you. It's definitely not hands above everybody else, but I would say you can make an argument for it. And but that wasn't even the point I was trying to make at the beginning of that statement. That the point I was trying to make, that definitely not the best duo of the decade were Dyer and Sanchez. That's definitely not the best center back duo of the decade. I would say it's not even 100th best center back duo of the decade. Yeah.
Well, you got to give it to Mourinho. He got that wrong, right?
Yeah. Oh, he got that wrong. Yeah. For sure.
What do you think about the Arsenal game? I don't even know if I wanted to start with the Arsenal game. I wanted to talk about the band first and then go down the table. But Martin just always has to hijack
I can wait.
the show with his agenda. But now we started talking about it. Let's do it. Lee, did you see the Arsenal game? Or Martin, are you going to let these say something?
Yeah.
I've seen the highlights. I didn't watch the whole thing.
All right. This is my issue with the Arsenal game. Like last week, I thought Arsenal would beat you. As soon as I turned on the TV and saw the Arsenal lineup, I'm like, why is Arteta doing this? Why is he starting 3 people that he's benched in his last few games? And those 3 people, like Aubameyang, fine, but like I said, even though he scored the goal, and Pepe, it's just this is an unreliable 3 when they're together. But when you put those kids on, those killer bees that just buzz all over the place and sting players and win the ball, which Arsenal did have a lot of possession in this game, I just think they're a better team. And I just think he had this moment of like, this is a derby. I'm going to trust my senior players and the players that I paid money for. But I think he should have just stuck to the formula that has given him this success that he's had lately. So he paid for it. And that's where I think Arsenal and Arteta went wrong.
You know, it's kind of ironic that most of my friends here in LA are actually Arsenal fans, so I do talk to them all the time.
Uh-huh.
And I argued with a bunch of them about Arteta because I still don't believe in Arteta as a manager of the future for this football club. I think Patrick Vieira should have been the manager, should be the guy to carry the torch from Wenger, and they didn't do it, and I think they made a mistake. Arteta.
That's a nice Black Lives Matter statement to make. All right, respect that.
But I did it before. I mean, I stand by it. I don't believe in Arteta that much. You know, I think maybe eventually he'll be a very good manager. I think he's very inexperienced, and he doesn't have that link with Arsenal as Vieira did. He was the captain of the team that didn't lose a single game in the league. So, I mean, it for me was an obvious choice, especially after what he did in MLS, and he was a very good manager in MLS. And right now he's a very good manager in France, so he's a good manager. Simple as that. Arteta, we don't know. He was number 2. It's different to be a number 2, you know? Yeah. It's different to be a number 2 than to be a manager and to work on your own.
No. Pep was a number 2. Zidane was a number 2.
Yeah. Pep for a short time, yes.
The guy after Pep was a number 2. The guy after Pep was a number 2.
Yeah, but
at Barcelona,
always work out.
So what?
Doesn't always work out. Who was the guy who was the Ferguson's assistant, and he was like highly.
I know you're talking about. Yeah.
Everybody was saying he'll be the next great, and he
Right.
kind of did, right?
Yeah.
So,
nobody knows where he is, and I can't remember his name right now.
Which
so you're
one,
right.
Kiros or McLaren?
Kiros. I think it starts with a K.
Yeah, Carlos Kiros is he was dreadful as Real Madrid manager, but he's the Iranian national team, I think now.
Oh yeah. How are they doing?
He's taken them to like 3 World Cups or 2 World Cups and done pretty well. So it's
all right.
Okay. Just never quite made it like there at the club elite level as a manager.
I think he coached like an MLS team out here before too, and didn't do well there. I think it's weird. It's like it's more pressure being a Real Madrid club coach than it is being probably, you said Iran or Iraq?
Iran, yeah.
Iran national. Because what credits does an Iran soccer team have? So it's like you can settle in, take your time, and build that program slowly. But Real Madrid is like, and Barcelona, like right now, Barcelona was like had a draw and they wanted to fire their coach. But if they fired their coach earlier this season and they were leading the league because they weren't leading by enough. So
what's even more stupid, they were always saying that Zidane's job is in jeopardy. And he wins every single time he coaches anybody. You know, he's like pretty much the most winning. Nobody wins more than Zidane, and he's right now 1 win away of winning the title for the first 4 years.
It's 2 points away, right? Yeah.
It's 4 points. 4 points.
I just read something that is 2 points. I think let me see.
They just won an hour ago. They just finished the game.
So
yeah, they played tonight against Granada.
They beat Granada, so they just only need one more win to get the title.
It says Real. I'm looking at BBC. So Real 2 points from La Liga title after surviving Granada. So they only need 2.
Yeah, or 2 draws. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that Barcelona coach is definitely going to get fired. Yeah. But they don't. Second is like being relegated.
Yeah, and that's
the
first title since 2017 for Real Madrid. So
yeah,
or 2016 even. I have to check that out.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So you guys won that game, and
I think Mourinho actually tactically he did a good job in terms of like tactical approach. I still question his choices, and it's unfortunate. I'll be very light on that subject because of what happened last night. But, I'm not a big fan of Serge Aurier, and he made a mistake that led to the goal. But obviously, it was a tragedy that happened last night. His brother got killed, got shot in front of a nightclub. So
right.
my deep condolences to Aurier's family. That has to be a very sad day for him.
So was this brother a soccer player too? Football player?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So, I forgot what I wanted to ask you about the game. Well, you won, fine, but I do believe in Arteta, and I do think, he's playing with probably, you talked about Alderweireld and Vertonghen being like the best back two in the last 10 years. Arteta is playing with the worst back three in the history of a top team in the Premier League for the last few games. And I dare any one of the two of you to argue with that. Like it's terrible. So, and they still had a shot. Lacazette's goal, like the Aurier thing, Aurier made 2 plays by himself. He won the ball, and then he cut off a pass, and then he jumped on the loose ball, and his first touch on the loose ball was too heavy. So then he ran into a 50-50 with Xhaka, and Xhaka won that 50-50. But then what Lacazette did afterwards with that ball was not Aurier's fault. That was just...
Yeah. World class.
Just, yeah.
But
major laser.
Yeah, but that's also why I'm praising Alderweireld, because in a lot of situations he was in the right place in the right time. He anticipated. He was on time. He recovered well. He covered the ground. And Dyer, whenever Dyer plays, I mean, he often just is not in the right place, doesn't cover the right guy, or just makes a mistake. So it's a huge, huge difference. And I hope Mourinho saw that. For some reason, he's in love with Dyer.
But here's the thing. You said those guys the best partnership in 10 years. Are they gone after this year? And is Mourinho, he plans on being a coach next year and the year after. So he's like, I have to work my new defense in because these guys are gone. And I'm planning for the future. You know what I mean?
I'm sure he plans to stay in, for a few years. Hopefully Daniel Levy has different plans than Mourinho. Hopefully their plans are not on the same plan, because that would be not good if they let it go. Especially Alderweireld. You can make a case about Vertonghen that he lost a step. You can make a case, although I still think he's useful. But definitely Alderweireld is still a very, very good player.
How old is Alderweireld?
He's 30, I think.
30?
Yeah.
Lee, what do you think about Mourinho's job at Spurs so far?
I don't think it's quite as bad as people have made out, but but he seems to have got to sort of where he normally is after 2 years, after only a few months already, which is his cycle has started to speed up at clubs, I think.
It's hilarious.
It'd be interesting to see when he has a summer, well, not a summer because it's going to be a short break now, but a clean slate, make some transfers and try and mould the squad a bit more how he wants it. But yeah, I think for me the jury's out still massively on him and Arteta. Both I think need to have a rebuild of the squads.
Yeah, even at this thing I look at here, the last 5 games were 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. And before that, he didn't even really have. Yeah, he had a loss and another win. I gotta check this, but it's. I think when you hire Mourinho, you only expect wins. So every draw or every loss is magnified. It feels like 2 losses or 2 draws. Like, it's always a shock. I'm not a Spurs fan, but whenever Spurs loses, like I'm watching the game and Mourinho's on the sideline, I'm like, did Mourinho just lose? And I think there's the shock of that. Nobody's used to that. So it just is amplified.
Yeah, that's a one thing. Another thing is also that we as Spurs fans were used to a style of play, and that style is really a good style for a long term, for a long period of time, up until the last, I would say, 6-7 months of Pochettino. We're not so great, but still we had a defined way of playing football. Where right now it's kind of unwatchable at times. I know that Mourinho probably has one very good argument for his case that Harry Kane is clearly not even close to his form.
He had a lot of good chances this game.
Not even close. He moves.
He had the one. He had the one with Lucas Moura early in the game. He tried to chip the keeper. You know, that keeper is actually pretty. That backup keeper Arsenal got.
It's their third keeper.
I would actually kind of keep him. Then he had one second half on the left. He ghosted by, I think it was Mustafi, and he didn't take the shot, but he put it into Son, and that keeper again thought of that. And I think he had that keeper was kind of keeping Arsenal in the game. You guys had the best chances in the second half.
Yeah, but still, Kane is clearly not himself. He shouldn't be even playing at this point. If there was no coronavirus, he wouldn't be playing at all because he was injured for 3 months. And I think, you know.
So how can you be harsh on Mourinho?
It's more the lack of style. I would say Kane probably.
Kane being injured causes a lack of style.
I don't see a concept, except if there were some good, I would say, tactical adjustments against Arsenal in this particular game. But I didn't like the adjustments in Sheffield United game. I didn't like the Bournemouth game at all as a whole. We didn't have one shot on target against Bournemouth, against one of the worst teams in the league. Mm-hmm. So, well, that's what I think. We are right now an average team, or slightly above average.
Yeah, I say slightly above average.
Slightly above average.
Damn, Lee, would you give Spurs that harsh of a grade? I mean, you don't have any style, and then it's funny to watch, like as a Man U fan, and I suffered through that when Mourinho was our coach, like even the wins were brutal and unsatisfying. Like it's like, thank you for the food, like, but it's like the worst chef made it, but you're hungry, so you eat it, but you're like, man, I wish we could get like Gordon Ramsay back there instead of this person with one arm.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a weird one. I think sort of football has evolved quicker than he has in the last few years. Like, he's still quite rigidly sticking to his methods that served him well sort of 10 years ago. And he's not really moved on. Yeah.
Very true. And that's what people are saying, actually. That's the argument some people are using, that he's pretty much still using the same methods that were brilliant in 2004 when he won Champions League with Porto. Were brilliant. He had a great run from 2004 till 2010. He was arguably the best manager in the world. But
Right.
that was 10 years ago. And time flies. You know, Jurgen Klopp 15 years ago was at Mainz, and then he was working for German TV as an analyst. Right now, he's arguably the most coveted coach in the world. So time it changes with that.
It's weird because, like, he's been fired a few times and he had the chance to, like, take a break and just watch games and study the game and like just reshuffle like his concept of football. And why wouldn't you do that? Is he that stubborn? Is he that arrogant in his head? Is like
quite possibly. I mean, the guy's got a big ego. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
It's also, I would say, because I read his biography about 10 years ago when he was very successful. And in this biography, there were like his daily schedule at Chelsea, when he was at his prime at Chelsea. He was sometimes even sleeping there in their training center. He was going through a lot of different tactical, formations, plans. I think he just spent so much time and worked so hard on certain schemes, tactical schemes, that he just believes those are the best schemes. I think those years when he was having those innovations in his head, this is how the game of football should look. I think it's a core of his beliefs. You know, he believes in a certain way of playing football.
So the lesson is never stop innovating.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's missing Rui Faria as well, who was his assistant for many years and then left after the first season at United, I think, to go and be a manager in his own right. I don't know where he is now. He took a couple of jobs and didn't do that great.
Right.
But he had him the whole time at Porto, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Inter. So
yeah, I remember that guy. I think he was there when we won like Europa League and the League Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, he came in with him at the start.
Yeah, and then after that, we went downhill too. So, yeah.
The Amazon documentary should be interesting. I think it's out maybe later this month or next month.
Oh, the Amazon documentary on what?
On Spurs.
Oh,
for this
so
season.
They did this season? Oh, yeah, that should be because, Pochettino getting fired. That's a perfect time. It feels like, I don't know, maybe every team has an amazing story every year, but I know Amazon does a great job of picking the right team to follow. It doesn't matter what level or league they're in. There's like always a story. Like with Sunderland, they decided to do Sunderland when they got a new owner. You know what I mean? And Leeds with Bielsa, and Man City when they did. Was it when they became Centurions and won the league?
It's when they won the league, yeah.
Yeah, it's when they won the league, and then this is the perfect season to follow Spurs. Trying to figure out what to go. I want to kind of go down the top of the table because it leads into the Man U game today. So Liverpool draws at home against Burnley, 1-1.
That's an incredible game.
Yeah, what'd you think of it?
It was just Liverpool just wasteful, and Nick Pope had a great game in goal.
Yeah,
really
he did.
Putting a claim in for that England #1 shirt. But I think Liverpool had like 23 shots or something crazy. And still only scored one. Burnley could have won it as well. They had a big chance after they scored the equaliser. So, it's a crazy result considering the dominance that Liverpool had. But it's nice to know that they're human. It's nice to be reminded of that.
By the way, Burnley, they're sneaky, very effective in the last 2 months. They were very, very good and very effective in most of the games. I would say they have the top 5 in points in the last 15 games or so. Right. And Pope clearly went ahead of Pickford. Pickford during the last World Cup was, people were saying he will be the next, for the next 10, 15 years, he'll be number 1 goalkeeper for England. And right now he's not, because Pope kind of in the last 2 years surpassed him.
Yeah, I put Pope and Henderson above him.
Yeah, I think they're all 3 around the same level. Like, none of them are great to me. But if anybody has a chance of being great.
What about Joe Hart? No,
bro. Never.
You can't even make Burnley's bench these days most of the time.
Yeah. Like Burnley's trying to get rid of him. Yeah.
The rumor, crazy fall from grace.
I know. Like, I've only seen that happen to like outfield players. I've never really seen like a goalkeeper fall off like that.
It all started from when Pep came into City and just decided that he wasn't good enough for him with his didistribution, and then he's just been on a downward spiral.
People are saying, "What are you doing, Pep? Why are you saying that?" People are very, very upset why he doesn't want to play Joe Hart. There were certain on social media. There were certain I would say calls for like Facebook groups or Twitter groups. You know, keep Joe Hart at City. You know, what is Guardiola doing? And right now it looks like he knew exactly what he was doing.
I know, because he won 2 Premier League titles. Like, it's a good thing Joe Hart is white, because it almost looked racist the way Pep was like getting him out of there. It's like, why would you get rid of a goalkeeper that won you 2 titles? This is crazy. Nobody in the history of this doesn't happen to someone. And yeah, they got rid of him, and it was the right choice apparently. So Liverpool draw. I saw that game. I think Liverpool. So how many points can Liverpool maximally get now?
I think they're on 93 at the moment, aren't they? And they've got 3 games left.
Right. So they can get.
They can get 102 if they win all 3.
Right. I you know what they need to do? Just play your starters. Like they had 2 of their young kids in, like Inaki Williams and somebody. Listen, there are moments where they struggled with their A team this year, and they had to eke out games by like a goal. Just play. You have no Champions League to pay for. You're not in any other cup. You get the 100. I'm not even a Liverpool fan, but you want to get the record for the most wins or most points ever. Just play all your starters.
They had it at Brighton during the week. They put a young left back in from the start, and they had to take him off at half time and put Robertson in.
Yeah.
Because he was struggling.
Yeah, just because you're missing stuff like those left backs and that right back. They're not regular players. It's not like Roberts scored Sunday, and on any day like Roberts and Alexander Trent have so many assists. You're taking away goals when you take those guys out. Goals that you needed yesterday. So just fuck it, man. Just start your team, run the table, get to 100 and whatever points. It's going to be, you won the league so many weeks ago. It looks disappointing now if you just limp towards it. You know what I mean? You have to like accomplish something else, or else you're going to get a lot of shtick from people.
Especially that they don't have anything to play for into Champions League. So they can focus on winning those 3 games.
Play the fucking guys. So Liverpool draws, and then Man City plays Brighton Hove, and they win 5-0. Sterling had the funniest capper to he scored 2 brilliant goals, and then like a pool shot, a trick accidental pool shot, gets the 3rd for like a header. Ball bounces off his head, goes into the goal, and he gets his 3rd goal for the game. But the thing about Sterling is he scored more goals this season than he did last season, but this season he doesn't look as sharp. So in all competition, he has more goals.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why he's got 3 games left. He's already beat his record from last season, but everybody would say this season was not that great. Is it because overall the team is not
I think
doing
it's
good?
consistency. Like when that was his third hat trick of the season. So like a lot of his goals have come in those 3 games. That's 9 goals.
Right.
So like I think he's been like when he's been good, he's been really good. But when he's struggled, he's just not been in games. So he's been more up and down than he was last season in terms of consistency.
So I guess stats can be tricky.
Yeah, there's context to everything.
I think that he's one of those players that get criticized a lot, sometimes very unfairly. People, media don't like him for some reason. I don't know why, but a lot of times media just don't like him and they pick on him. Where I think he's still one of the best players in the league, even if maybe it wasn't his best season, but it was still a good season, very good season. Yeah. And City were good offensively. They were just bad defensively. It's as simple as that. I mean, you can't criticize offensive players. They all produce great numbers. By the way, Silva, who is leaving City, was brilliant in this game again. I mean, incredible passes, and he'll be heavily missed. But I just want to make a little segue here. Although the win was impressive against Brighton, because Brighton is not a bad team, they're definitely the most important win was today. That was the most important win.
Oh yeah. So let's go to that. I'm gonna miss David Silva. It's almost gonna be like there's a death in football when he leaves Man City.
Yeah.
And man, it's just like Pep said something weird. He's like, he's the best player he's coached besides Iniesta. And I'm like, motherfucker, didn't you coach Messi? Did anybody see him say that? Or did he just mean in space, in small spaces?
I think he tried to say that's
but still, didn't you coach Messi? So I don't know.
I think he wanted to say midfielder. Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Did you hear him say midfielder?
No, but I think that's what he wanted to say. Just sometimes, you just use the wrong word. But I think that's what he tried to say.
It's weird. And it's weird to say that when Messi might not sign with Barca and you could get Messi. Like, why would you?
And I think they will. As a matter of fact, I think they will get Messi.
But how are you going to get somebody if you're telling the media in an interview that everybody's going to see? Somebody's going to say, hey, man, Pep said Iniesta and David Silva are the best players he's ever coached. And I know he coached you. I saw you guys win a treble together. So what's up? Do you want to go play with that guy now?
I need to hear the actual interview before knowing whether he meant that or.
Yeah, I'll try to find it.
I think it was just a tongue slip.
Yeah, it could have just been a slip, but yeah, it's a huge slip to make. It's like who did I coach again? Shit, Iniesta. But David Silva.
He didn't mention Lewandowski, so yeah. Also, that's why I think midfielder, because he could have mentioned Lewandowski as well.
I don't know. Like I can also see why. Like I don't watch as much German league as I do Premier League, but I could see David Silva is just. It's just something special, bro. And Lewandowski is special, but David Silva is just like when you get a player like that, it's just it's pretty amazing.
He's like a conductor. When you have different instruments, he's like a conductor who makes the music flow.
Yeah, watching him and De Bruyne together as well is just it's a pleasure, isn't it?
Yeah. And at first they didn't gel. At first it felt like two individual halves of a team. And then Pep came and then they got it together. But Silva is it's like modern day Houdini. You know what I mean? Like whatever straitjacket you put him in with how many buckles, how many people you surround him with, this motherfucker is not going to drown. He's going to escape that coffin and float to the top, pass the ball, either score or set up an assist. You just can't hold that dude down, bro. It's pretty amazing. Now let's go to the Man City band that you brought up.
Yeah, they're back in business, which is important piece of information also for your team, because that means that you have to finish top 4. There will be no.
You too, motherfucker.
No, we're out. A long time ago. We're out. No chance.
Oh, Spurs ain't in the Premier League? I thought Spurs was in the Premier League. What happened? You're in the what league you in?
No, we'll have a serious problem to get to top 6, and we might not. It might be better not to, actually, as a matter of fact. But it has a huge implications, because right now the City will play the Champions League next year, which means that they're second right now in the table. Whoever finishes 3rd and 4th will also qualify, but not 5th anymore.
So what were they saying today? Because I could pull it up, but I heard it's mostly like a time ban. There was like they definitely did something wrong, even because they reduced the fine from 30 something to 10.
Yeah, 30 million euros to 10 million euros.
Right, meaning that you did something wrong and we're fining you. But
I think the main thing is that they're saying, like, the things they were originally accused of, they didn't find them guilty of, and some stuff was more than 5 years ago, so it's outside the time limit. But the main thing they found them guilty of was not cooperating with UEFA.
Right, yeah.
So it was that, rather than the higher charges that UEFA brought initially of sort of disguising investment as sponsorship from the owners.
So go ahead.
But yeah, and I think the Court of Arbitration for Sport sort of said that UEFA's investigation had flaws in it as well.
Doesn't lack of cooperation reek of guilt?
Oh, massively.
That's all I gotta say.
Listen, for me, it's very simple. Corruption in world football is not a new subject, and even the former head of UEFA and great player one day, Michel Platini, had to step down because of some problems. So here's my theory. And I'm not saying there was any corruption, but I'm saying there is a situation where you have one of the richest owners who is constantly spending, and he's putting money on the market, and we will have a huge recession now. Why would you want to take someone like that out of the game for 2 years, someone who constantly spends a lot of money?
Yeah, I thought that too. I thought like the coronavirus has changed a lot of things. And they're like, Man City is one of the premier teams in Champions League. And you want to keep that name in there because every league has taken a hit, including the Champions League. And this is the wrong time to take them out of it. Like, there's so much money you could get back. Like, they've lost so much money, Champions League and FIFA, and it's like, and what is it, the Europa League board? Like, what do they call them?
I forgot the name of it, but even going back to the original point we made 5 minutes ago, how would you expect City to make a move for Messi if they're not in the Champions League? Right now they can make a move for Messi. And somebody.
Yeah, I think they could have struggled to keep hold of Guardiola and various players as well.
Brungardt, like a bunch of players.
So I think that was the verdict. That was the verdict more than like proof or anything else. Like coronavirus has really helped them. So they won a Champions League spot today, and for 2 years. Because everybody I spoke to before this, including me, just that they're going to get a 1-year ban, and this was the year, but not anymore.
No.
Let's go to Chelsea. They lose to Sheffield United, Sheffield, man, they could put it on you. You got to be careful. And it's like
that was a masterclass from Sheffield United tactically. The 3-5-2 they used it worked to perfection. Mm-hmm. But I think at one point the first half was coming to an end, and I heard that Abraham had only had like 9 touches of the ball, and they weren't even good touches. Like because he had 3 centre backs around him. And the fact that Lampard was forced to make 2 subs and change Chelsea's system at half time.
Right.
And even then, Sheffield United still dealt with it. So I think Chris Wilder just outsmarted Lampard.
So that's another thing that's crazy to me. Like Chris Wilder, right? Old school, it seems, English coach. And usually old school English coaches never change. They're stuck in something. That never works. And this guy comes to the Premier League with like less quality players and is coaching modern football. So why the fuck can't Mourinho?
Can't answer that.
That is so crazy, right?
I think if you're
some guy from like the most unlikeliest place is, what was the formation you said again?
3-5-2 they play.
3-5-2. Like, if you're an old school English coach, it's 4-2-4, 4-3-3. Maybe, there's just not many. But this guy, he's like.
However, Mourinho actually had a very good game plan against Arsenal. He actually outcoached Arteta in this particular game, yes.
Yeah, he did, but I think Arteta played the wrong people too. Yeah. I think Arteta halfway outcoached himself.
Yeah, he didn't even play his best player in the last couple of weeks, Sakho, in the starting lineup, which I couldn't understand at all.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Like
he plays him out of position all the time. So
Sakho can play a lot of positions, but one of the best ones is not on the bench. Like that's a terrible position to play your Sakho. So I don't understand that. So yeah, Chelsea loses. Anybody have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, almost wanted to talk to Neil, who was on the podcast last week, because I wouldn't say we argued, but he didn't accept my point that Christensen is not at the class Chelsea should be next year, and he proved my point, Christensen, by playing really very, very bad game as a center back against Sheffield United. He was horrible in this game. But for me, the most important was the statement from Lampard after the game, that when he said that he's learned a lot about his team from that game, that means there will be some changes.
Yeah, man. After I heard that, I was scared to go in the locker room if I was a player. I was like, did he mean me?
I think Jorginho will be gone this season. I think he's already looked at Billy Gilmore, the young Scottish lad, replacing him, but he was injured for this game. So I think Jorginho will probably be on the way out. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes back to play for Sarri again.
Right. Do you think this is a Jorginho fault game, though?
No.
And
it was the back line were poor. I mean, they just dealt with their forwards badly.
They need. Go ahead.
Zuma.
One thing I will say though is it was really good to see David McGoldrick score 2 goals for Sheffield United because they were his first Premier League goals. But he played for us years ago in the Championship. We were like one of his first clubs. We put him in as a teenager because we had no money at the time. We had a whole team of teenagers and we put him in, and he did well for us. But then we got relegated, and he sort of bounced around loads of clubs like Ipswich, Coventry. He was at loads of small clubs, and then he finally found his way to the Premier League this year. And it's nice to see him score.
So
he does a lot. I think he's like 27, 28 now, maybe. But he does a lot for the team. He's not just like his hold-up play is brilliant. His movement's good. But it's nice to see him actually get the goals this time.
Yeah, Chris Wilder always starts him, and he makes him. He gives him the comfort of you don't have to score, because normally when you're up front like that, you have to score. But the only other player I see get treated like that is who's the other player on Southampton? Long.
Yeah.
Like Long doesn't have to score. He'll start near up front with
he never scores. He scores like 1 goal per season.
Yeah. And he still starts.
Yeah.
So
he's more there. I mean, like Long for us is more there out of possession. He's brilliant in the press, which is his primary sort of function.
But he's supposed to score. I think they gave up on him scoring like years ago, like 2 years ago or something, like a year and a half ago.
I think in the last 4 years, he scored only 1 goal per season.
What's his position?
He's a centre forward.
Exactly. You're supposed to score. That shit is crazy. So, but I think at Crystal Palace, Roy Hudson came to the same conclusion with Benteke, like, all right, I'm going to play you. You're supposed to score, but if you don't, help them do something, up there. So, yeah. But
Sheffield United, like I say, they got a very good system, and he's shown so much faith in the players that got them to the Premier League as well. Didn't do what Fulham did last season or what Villa did this season, where they just signed loads of players, kept the consistency, added 1 or 2, and I mean, outside of Liverpool, for me, they're the team of the year.
And they were in a little bit of a funk at the beginning of. After the quarantine,
the restart,
a couple of weeks at the restart, but they picked it up. They beat us fair and square, and they won the game in the last seconds. What was the game?
Wolves.
Against
the Wolves game, with the set piece.
Yeah. I'm glad they beat Wolves. Yeah.
So they beat Spurs, they beat Wolves, and they beat Chelsea in like 10 days. That's great.
You know who they didn't beat? Man U.
Yeah.
But, Chris Wilder's over there doing his thing, and they beat Chelsea. And thank God they beat Chelsea. So this is a weird weekend where all the top 4 didn't win. The players who are involved in the last 2 places in the top floor, didn't win. And so Leicester lost to Bournemouth 4-1.
Yeah,
that was a crazy game. Leicester were in control. They were 1-0 up.
Yeah.
And then Schmeichel imploded and kicked a goal kick off the back of one of his own players, and they gave away a penalty. And then he should have stopped Solanke's first goal for 2-1 as well. And then Soyuncu got himself sent off afterwards. And yeah, the whole thing was just, it was all their own doing, just self-destruction.
Yeah, Soyuncu is gone. And it's perfect for us. It's like Soyuncu is gone for basically the rest of the season. How many games are left? 3 or 4?
It'll probably be 3 because it was violent conduct because he kicked Wilson in the net.
So his team is fighting for top 4. And you're their best defender. The best defender they had that you replaced is Maddison. They sold him. So like they need you. And like this is why we're gonna get to the loss of Man Utd. I'm calling it a loss to Southampton.
You mean Maguire?
But it was Maguire. But it was a tie. But the beauty of this is not only did Leicester lose, they lost. I don't think like, you know how you're talking about Spurs struggling to find defenders, like where they're gonna get a defender for the next 3 games that's gonna be as good as Sonkyo.
They're gonna dust Wes Morgan off again.
Perfect. Bring him out.
Leicester, another team that unfortunately for them, the restart of the season was not great because they're slipping.
I think it was great.
Yeah.
I like their restart. I like their restart.
Leicester, no, they're losing points. Oh,
I love it. Yeah, Martin.
Schmeichel was great against Arsenal in the midweek. He was actually very good in that game, but in this one, he wasn't very good at all. And it's kind of funny that when I saw Dominic Solanke starting for Bournemouth and he never scored a goal in the Premier League, I'm like, okay, what do they? They're trying to get relegated, and then he scored because he used to play for Liverpool. He was young talent on Liverpool, and he didn't make it at Liverpool, and they sent him to Bournemouth, and he couldn't score a single goal ever.
Yeah, he scores his first 2 goals in Premier League for Bournemouth, and there's a lot of, like you just talked about McGoldrick. Is it McGoldrick?
Yeah.
A lot of people, like last week, another Southampton player scored his first goal for Southampton.
Shea Adams, yeah.
Adams, and then there's McGoldrick, and then there's Solanke this week. And I think there's somebody else I can't remember right now. But there's a lot of like people at the end of the season when the people need goals, scoring their first goals or more than one for their team. So that's pretty good. The thing about Leicester, I just want to say about Leicester, like even if they slip out of the top 5, I think it's a really successful season for Leicester. They don't have a lot of depth. You know, they have some in some places, but overall they don't. And they don't have their attacking options are limited. It is what it is.
But they have the best scorer in the league, though.
They have the best scorer, but, you know, besides that, like when Leicester won the title, at least they had a Vardy and a Mahrez. All they got right now is a Vardy. And they got Maddison coming up. And is it Brooks?
He's Bournemouth.
But there's Maddison and Barnes. Harvey Barnes. Yeah, my bad. I knew it was a B. But, you know, they're coming up.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though.
But let me finish, Martin. Let me finish. I just think Brandon Rodgers is doing a good job for them selling their best defender all year and being in the top 4 for this long. And even if they slip out, which I hope they will, I don't want people to shit on Brandon Rodgers. I think they've been performing above and beyond.
Yeah, if they finish top 6, which they will, that's phenomenal for them.
Yeah.
Are they playing United in the last game of the season?
We're going to get to that, yeah.
That will be a big game.
Yeah, that's going to be the game. What else is there to watch? You know what I mean? Besides some relegation battles. So let's get down to Man Utd, and we just drawed with some motherfucking team called Southampton. And talking about good project restarts, Southampton has had, would you say, a good restart, Lee?
Oh yeah, I would have bit someone's hand off if they offered this to me beforehand. Like beating City, drawing with you guys. Yeah, we picked up like the win at Watford was good as well. Yeah, we've just been solid. Hassan Hull's had more time to work with the players, and because he's got some very specific ideas on how to play, and a lot of it is alien to our players. It's a very German style. He's getting his message home, and I think if he can get 2 or 3 more players in that know his style, that understand his style, then we can be a top 10 club.
What's his style? What's his style? That press?
Yeah, and to just play back to front quickly, and then counter press. If we lose the ball, we try and win it back up the pitch high. It's very narrow as well, because they said to him after the game today, they said, because we have more possession than you guys, we had 53%, I think.
Oh shit!
And they said, like, you've come to Old Trafford and have more possession. He went, that's not important for us, because he feels that if the longer you have the ball, the more likely you are to make a mistake. So he wants it to be in the opposition half and just constant pressure, trying to force mistakes rather than have the ball. But you saw that on the first goal.
Let me tell you this: the last time we took a coach from Southampton, it worked well for us. So I hope they're gonna.
Yeah, are you worried about that, Lee? Like losing?
I think he'll give us one more season at least. But
don't you want more?
I'm a Southampton fan. I know what the deal is.
Yeah, right.
Good players or good managers, we keep them for like 3 seasons tops. That's the limit. So, but he has been given a lot of autonomy with us as well, which I think he's happy with. He signed a very long contract, so and he's got a lot of control over the academy and things like that as well. So
maybe he'll stay.
Project for him,
because Spurs will have to top that. Yeah. My thoughts on the game was that you guys, the press was like live, man. That shit. Like I was in my living room going, how are we going to get out of this? Like, it was tight as shit. And I knew we were going to make a mistake because of it. I could see it coming. And, when I played Pogba in FIFA, you can get the ball off him. and I think they gave him, they based his FIFA skills on, like, last year with Mourinho when he didn't have any help. But that Pogba, I think this is what happens with Pogba. When he gets comfortable and they're winning, then he feels more inclined to like not cherish the ball or think that he could just trick anybody. And it helps most of the time. And, he's got to play and be his play, but he got caught out there on that Ings tackle. And but it was tight anyway. The only chance was to pass it back to a defender who there was already somebody like ready to pounce on that defender. So it's like that press was just legit.
It was interesting because you guys were doing similar to us. Like you had a chance just before the first goal where Martial nicked it off someone and our keeper made a good save 1v1.
Right.
So I thought it was a really entertaining game to watch with 2 teams that wanted to like get
for you
forwards and.
I don't want to watch an entertaining game that you enjoy when I'm trying to get into third and we need those points.
Maybe you need Mourinho back for that game then.
Shit. Yeah, this is what I thought. Like at halftime when we were up 2-1, I was like, you should just put in the back 5 and play counter football and win this half, and we'll get a goal or 2. Like I definitely thought that's what Ali should do. You know what I mean? Like
you needed that third goal. You had a couple of chances. I think like Rashford and Martial both had decent chances at 2-1.
Really good chances.
But yeah, you needed that third goal because I think we were always a threat on the break.
And the unfortunate situation was that you lost the player and you finished with 10 players. The game.
And I won't forget that. It's just like I felt like
we were a bit lucky as well with the Romeo tackle.
The red card.
You
know what's funny? Like out here, halftime, they did not focus on that. Now, the reason why I know it was a point of contention on English TV, because my homeboy Lloyd called me from Birmingham, like at halftime, and he's like, they're reviewing that tackle. I didn't even see it Martin, did you see that tackle like until like later on? No. They didn't even notice it over here. But he's
in real time. Yeah, in real time, it didn't look that bad. But when you see the replay slowed down,
no, I know. But at least at least English TV picked up on it and was talking about it at halftime. It was not discussed at all at halftime in America. Like
it was hilarious on Sky because they had Matt Letizia, who's obviously a Southampton legend, and they asked him, and he was just like, "Nah, definitely fine. It's not even a foul." And I watched it. I'm like, that's an ankle breaker. That's a red card.
Yeah, and it was on Greenwood, right? And Greenwood, like that was the only time I saw him all game, when he was rolling around after that tackle. Like he's young, and I just think the team is a little tired, and it was perfect for Southampton to press him, because it's been the same starters for the last few games. And Ollie was like, they shouldn't be tired, and people in the studio was like, they shouldn't be tired, because players have to play back to back to back all the time. But like, for us to be most effective, and we pressed too, and we pressed you and got some chances, but I feel like we're tired, or we would have pressed more too. Plus, I think your press rattled us and took our confidence a little bit, like just throughout the game period. Like, I like the way we reacted and got 2 goals back right away. That is fucking, like, those 2 goals normally would take the entire fucking game, and we'd probably just draw. You know what I mean? But we got those instantly. But again, I said, after we went up 2, I was like, this team is trouble. We should play them like we played Man City or Liverpool or Spurs or Arsenal, back 5, and just defend. And Marshall or Rashford would get a ball on the break, hit him, and get to 3-1, and then we'd win. But we didn't do that. And then you guys, we get the injury, which Martin mentioned, right?
Yeah, Brandon Williams, wasn't it?
Brandon Williams. And then you guys bring on Obafemi. Hey, Aaron, I want to do a screen share, but I can't do it.
Well, Lindelof took a nap in this play for sure.
Yeah.
He was the one on Obafemi?
Yep.
Yeah, he lost him completely. Didn't get close to the blocking or making a challenge.
Thanks, Aaron. Let me.
Obafemi's a small guy as well.
Let me say something about Obafemi. Let me see. Sharing screen. Let me see. I want to see Obafemi. I can't see him. Obafemi. How old is Obafemi supposed to be, Lee?
Like 18, 19, I think.
This motherfucker looks 35. Does this look like a 20-year-old to you? Martin, does this look like a 20-year-old to you? He's short. Martin doesn't want to respond. He doesn't want to be implicated in anything.
No, because I knew a bunch of players, Nigerian players, years ago in Poland, that they were saying they're 19, 20, and they really were in their 30s, because I found footage of their games from 10 years before. So I know that happened.
That's why I brought it up, because I was watching his interview. I was like, this is not a 20-year-old.
No, he's legit. He's legit. He was born here as well. So it's not like he came here with like a passport that may update on it or something.
I'm just asking, bro.
Sometimes it could be tricky, because I remember this basketball player who unfortunately had terrible injuries and never fulfilled his potential, but he was a number 1 draft pick called Greg Oden. So Greg Oden, we can pull the picture of Greg Oden when he was drafted.
Yeah, I know. And LeBron doesn't look young either. I get it. But this little motherfucker looks like he's up there. But all right.
He likes the big games as well. Like, he scored against Chelsea for us earlier in the season as well. He comes up in the big games.
Yeah, they brought that up. Yeah, man, he fucked us. You know?
Yeah, you would be in a very good position if you won that game. You'd be in
I know. We'd be 3rd. But, you know, based on the games that we have left, like,
is it Palace, then West Ham, then Leicester for you guys?
And Palace could be tricky, but then they don't have Benteke anymore, which I don't know how much they lose by not playing Benteke. They might even get better. But we should be able to beat Palace. But Palace and Southampton has always taken points from us every season. Like, you guys took 4 points from us last season. That hurt. So today I was like, I really wanted to beat Southampton, because I was like, we have the team to beat Southampton. This team should not give us any trouble. And yeah, I'm being kind of disrespectful, but I still knew you had a good start to Project Restart, and you probably would give us trouble. And you just beat goddamn Man City. But yeah.
Which was a completely different game, though, because the City game, the City were attacking all the time, constantly, and had a lot of chances. So it was a completely different, and they had like 80% of possession, I think, at some point.
Yeah, we were backs to the wall with some real last-ditch defending and
kind of
goalkeeping.
scrapped the win. Where today, I think you were an equal partner with
It was the same with the Everton, the 1-1 against Everton as well. We played really well in that game. And we dominated for most of it.
Yeah, I think we got scared. We lost our confidence. That press scared the shit out of us, and we kind of tried to like keep. I think if you're gonna try to hold on, you have to change your formation. You know what I mean? And just say, this is a hold on formation, and we're going to play counter-attacking football, and because we're going to act like we're playing City. And I think we would have got, even though we had the chances and we didn't put them away, I just think that would have at least kept us to 2-1 by the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know,
every point counts, doesn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, every point counts. But Wolves, they won again. And they beat Everton, a good team, coached by Ancelotti. They put Everton to sleep. But the Wolves, what I want to talk about Wolves is they just showed you in this game what they do and how they do it. And I'm talking about this player called Podence. Never seen him before. But it was his first start. He's Portuguese, another Portuguese player, 25 years old, comes in, and I'm like, if this guy plays like this all the time, next season, this team is going to be even better. And like he won a penalty, he got shots on goals, he set stuff up in the attack, and he was just like, he looked like he'd played more Premier League games than all the Everton players, who had clearly played more and just were like cones on the field to him. So, I don't know, man. And then they have the Donker and Jota.
Been good after the break, yeah.
Yeah. Jota. Like, first Jota blows, like, a chance, but then he just Bergkamped his next chance into the back of the net. Like that was better than the Dennis Bergkamp one from the World Cup. And Jimenez, like winning that ball from Bernard Neves. Is it Neves? Winning that ball from Bernardo. Here's the thing with Bernardo. I think Bernardo has skill, but he plays too jittery and too nervous. And he needs to calm the fuck down. Like he's always feels like he has to do something. And sometimes he taps the ball out of his own reach. And it's like, relax, Bernardo. Just fucking relax. But, you know, Wolves just played an amazing game, man, and they just blew them out 3-0. I don't know if anybody saw it, but...
Yeah, I think they've got a good chance in the Europa League as well, because they're just a tricky side to play against.
Yeah.
Nuno's got them very organised, and he's got a good squad built there, so, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Martin, would Spurs take Nuno?
No, I wouldn't take him. I would take the Southampton guy. I want the Southampton guy.
For real?
Yeah, I think he's very good. I like the way he plays with this team, and he would fit the Spurs very well, I think.
You know, you can count, right?
What?
You can count, right?
Yeah.
Because you know, Wolverhampton is 6th in the table. They are ahead of Southampton, who are 12. You know, 6 is a higher number than 12.
Yeah, but I just like the way they play football. Plus, they don't have that much talent. I mean, They have a lot of talent on that team. Jimenez is arguably the best Mexican player. He's better than Chicharito, of course. You know?
Yeah. That's what I was sitting in my living room thinking that.
Also, Wolves have the Jorge Mendes link up as well, which.
Yeah, that's exactly Jorge Mendes. They have like, for example, Moutinho.
Yeah,
who was on the wish list for many years of top European teams, and he went to Wolverhampton. He was supposed to come to Premier League before that, and they never made it happen. But Mendes made it happen that he went to Wolverhampton, and that was a big shock. I think Neves was there when they were in the Championship. That was the big shock for everybody.
Yeah.
How did they pull that out?
Is he an agent? Mendes?
Yeah. He's the guy.
And Nuno was his first ever client. When he was a player. Back when he was a goalkeeper at Porto. Yeah.
Oh shit.
But like Mendes represents like almost any good Portuguese player there is and more.
So this guy gets this guy into the game as an agent. And then this agent, now that he's a coach, now that his first client is a coach, is like, gives him a fucking free supply line of the best Portuguese players.
It used to be by the first look deal with Mendes. So
Yes.
That went south. What a surprise.
Oh, man, that's crazy. Right of first refusal.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, you know.
All right. But yeah, Wolves doing it. And we did Burnley, Liverpool, Everton, Wolves, Southampton, Man U. Fuck you, Southampton. Here we get it. Let's just go to the bottom of the table. So Norwich lost. They're all L's across the bottom. They're gone. They're like, their parachute failed, and they are just, in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they're going to hit the ground hard, and all their body parts, all their bones are going to break. It's over. It's a wrap. Aston Villa. So the first games of the weekend were what? West Ham and Norwich, and then West Ham, of course, Mikel Antonio scores 4 goals.
Yeah, he showed up.
He's been showing up. He doesn't normally show up like 3 games in a row, but he showed up 3 games in a row. And one thing he said that was interesting in the interview after the game was his coach just told him to stay in the box. And when you look at all 4 goals, he was in the box. And it's just like, it's such a simple thing, but I understand how a player might not know that sometimes.
Also, Antonio started his career as a winger, right. So his natural instinct is to move out into those channels. So him being a forward is a different thing for him.
Yeah.
And
so
you have to say that, with his physical presence, I mean, he should be in the box as much as possible because he's so strong and so big.
Right. Yeah, he should just do that from now on. Just stay in the box. I just think sometimes when you don't trust, you come out the box to get the ball, but just stay in the box. You have the physical presence that cannot be matched by anyone in this league. Stay in the box, bro. If it's just one chance a game, you'll most likely put it away if you're in the box or win a penalty. But yeah, so West Ham wins when they need to win. And then fucking Watford wins against Newcastle, who had a great start, and it's like
2 penalties.
2 penalties, yeah. Troy Deeney put them away. And
but I want to mention the guy we talked about on the last podcast for Watford, because they had an important win against Norwich in the midweek, and it was one of the greatest goals of the season. Danny Welbeck scored one of the greatest goals of the season. Amazing, and it was a winning goal also. Amazing goal.
Lee, you respond to him for me. I'm not going to take this. I'm not.
It's a goal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worst bicycle ever.
Sure.
Worst bicycle. It's the worst, most spectacular goal I've ever seen in my life.
By the way, Lee, I don't know if you watched the last podcast we did. I've mentioned the so-called Welbeck curse, that the United didn't win a title since they let Welbeck go. So it's alone.
You know what else is a part of the curse? Spurs hasn't won a title since they haven't bought Welbeck. So you need to buy him. And maybe you'll win some shit.
Maybe if that's what it takes, I'll buy him for sure.
Yeah, buy him, bro. You're good. I mean, I'm glad he's doing good, but this is my suggestion for Welbeck Lee. He should be a CDM.
I mean, he had a lot of injuries. I liked him as a player. I always liked him.
But not as a forward. He just like he's one of those guys that can finish sometimes, but he won't finish most of his chances, and not that most forwards do. But when you look at his forward play, right, you can tell if they have that cold, calculated thing in their blood that can put away the ball in the net when you need it to. And he fumbles. So I feel like
he's another one, though, that's almost in like the same bracket as like Shane Long.
Come on, they're not in the same bracket.
in terms of what they do for the team. Like, because there was a time when Welbeck played for England. He was a regular starter for England,
and that was a problem for me.
It was because of what he did for the team, not because he was going to score every game.
The best qualification for the World Cup.
Come on, man! We already proved on the show that stats can lie. You know what I'm saying? We proved that earlier, that stats can lie. So my thing is, make this guy. He has a lot of energy and he works a lot, right? What he can do for the team, he should be a CDM.
I'm gonna check those stats. Shane Long stats, Welbeck stats.
Go ahead, Lee. While he checks his stats.
I don't think positionally he can play there. I think he'd be a good winger, like a defensive winger, and a pressing player, but not like number 9.
Yeah. Like, not like a great pass in CDM. It's like, get the ball, and whenever you see the midfielder that on your team that's closest to you, that's good at creating plays, get the ball to him.
I don't think you can do that at Watford. They've got enough players who are good at that.
So what?
I think Watford have got enough players that are already good enough at that.
Yeah. I mean, not for Watford, wherever he goes for the rest of his career. I just think he's not
go to the Championship.
Yeah, I think you're just wasting time expecting him to like, that's a spot that you could give to a real forward. You know what I mean? And you can still get more use out of Danny Welbeck in a position that he's more suited for. Like, all his energy, his speed, his physicality should be used to work for the team in a different position. That's all I'm saying. Martin, Danny Welbeck's stats are so small, Martin can't even find them.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like actually Long scored more goals than Welbeck.
Yeah, we're not saying the same bracket. I mean, they don't score. Both of them don't score many, and they do a job out of possession rather than in possession.
Long actually scored 10 goals in a season 4 years ago. So interesting. 5 years.
You know what's funny? Like, I guess Jesse Lingard is our Long. You know what I mean?
At least Long does get on the pitch.
Yeah, no, but when Jesse gets on the pitch, he ain't gonna score no goals.
So Welbeck's 2 best seasons were with United: 2012, 2013, and 2014, 2015. He scored 2013, 2014, and 2011, 2012. So in those 2 seasons, he scored 9 goals, and after that, he never scored more than 5 goals a season.
I know, and these are Premier League goals, or just also
Premier League. Just Premier
League. And what position was he playing?
I mean, he's a striker.
That's terrible. That's not good, man.
He scored 9 goals twice for United, and after that, he never scored more than 5.
He's also been horrifically injury prone as well.
I get it, but when he's not injured, I don't see it. Like, like, would you take a Welbeck?
No.
There you go. That's all. Martin, would you take a Welbeck?
If what you said is true, that if we will win a title with him, sure, I'll take
it. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true.
I'll take anyone to win a title, Giroud, whoever.
It's hilarious. So after West Ham won and Watford won, then it left Villa in a desperate do-or-die situation where they had to win. And they won. They beat Crystal Palace. Did you guys see that game or have any thoughts on?
My thoughts are that Jack Grealish is a cheat.
And he's overrated. Do you agree with me?
Did you see the game?
I said he was a cheat. That was a horrendous dive.
Yeah, it was a horrendous dive, and the referee. Actually, Jack Grealish is pretty honest because at the end of the game, when they asked him about the game, he said Sakho's goal was a goal. He's like, he said we got lucky. He said we had calls against us, so it was good to have a call for us, but that wasn't a goal. And he dived. Everybody dives. Like, you know who the diver. That was
a really bad one, though.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad, and I'm glad they called it back. And I'm glad Villa still won anyway. But Grealish actually had a pretty good game, and they played him this time out on the left. And he's a right-footed player, but he set up and opened up a lot of things for his team, And they, Trezeguet came through twice, and they won.
I still think that even if Bournemouth winning complicated things a little bit because they're only 3 points behind, and they can technically still catch Watford, I don't think they will. I think those two teams are just better football teams, West Ham and Watford, than Aston Villa and Bournemouth. Especially when you're chasing, it's different when you're chasing. You're being chased. So if you're Aston Villa and you're chasing, you have 4 points to make up in 3 games. Technically 5 points because Watford have much superior goal difference. So they have to scrap 5 points to catch Watford with not that much attacking talent. I don't think that will happen. I just don't think that will happen.
My hope is that, because we've got Bournemouth, not next game, but the one after, my hope is that Bournemouth manage to get something against Man City, which I don't think they will, and then we can relegate them. So that made me happy.
So you want to relegate? You want the credit of relegating them?
Yeah, well, I want to send Bournemouth down. They're like a neighbourhood rival kind of thing. They're only a few miles down the road, so we don't really care about them, but they turn it into a big rivalry. We only care about Portsmouth, but they try and pipe up, and be good to just say, nah, off you go.
Send you down, hilarious.
But I'd quite like to see Villa stay up though. I'd have liked to see Moyes go down with West Ham, but I don't think that's going to happen now.
No chance for Villa. I don't see any chance. I can take any bet for Villa. They're going down.
I said I'd like to see them go down. I don't think they will. I think the Chelsea game was the big turning point for them. When they beat Chelsea at home, they were safe from them, I think.
I could see West Ham losing their next 3 games.
They still stay up.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough for Villa. Villa came out the break with the toughest schedule. It's just their schedule is ridiculous. They should have made up more points in the beginning of the season when they had easier games than they have now. Because it's even an easy game for them is Everton. Or easier game, and Everton is way better than them, or has more points, and is besides this week, for the most part, Everton has been solid since Ancelotti got there. So it's just a tough.
It's not looking good for them. I think the bottom 3 now is the bottom 3.
Yeah, I know. I don't trust West Ham. I don't trust Watford either.
It's just too much of an advantage. I mean, 5 points in out of possible 9. That's so much ground above Aston Villa from Watford. It has to be an absolute catastrophe for them to get relegated in that. I mean, Bournemouth is 3 points, so it's a little bit different, and they have not that bad of a goal difference, So I think Bournemouth, they have a long shot, but let's not forget. I would say Bournemouth were very lucky against Leicester, the way this game kind of unraveled, and because of that, they have a slight, tiny little chance. But I just don't think they're a very good team. So
it's called halftime chat, mate. You know what I'm saying? It's called halftime chat, and you go offensive and you switch things up, and you come out and you realize this is a do or die situation, and you make it happen, bro. Don't be disrespectful.
Fluky, a couple of fluky accidents that went their way, but it is what it is. I think those 3 teams are going down. Norwich, it's done. I think Aston Villa will be this week. Aston Villa will go down, and then Bournemouth. Maybe it's Southampton.
You're being very disrespectful to Norwich, but I want you to know that Norwich has accomplished a record that no other team in the history of the Premier League has ever accomplished. They are being relegated for the 5th time. So let me tell you something, man. You know how much balls it takes to go down and come back up, go down and come back up, go down and come back up, and go down, come back up, and now go back down again. Like no other team has ever been able to accomplish, not even Man U, not even Spurs, none of the greats. And Norwich has achieved this. So I need you to give them their props.
Yeah, and they play Chelsea tomorrow, so I'm assuming that you'll be rooting for Norwich.
Yeah, now that they're finally released, there's nothing. The last few games, every time Norwich lost, they had their head down. There's no reason for them to have their head down now. They're already down. So
you're hoping for a pookie party in that game.
Yeah, me and you, Lee, were talking about how teams with nothing in the history of the Premier League, because I talked to my homeboy Lloyd, and he's worried that in the next game, Watford and West Ham will collude and just try to draw so that they can share the points and stay above all the teams below them. And I was like, I don't think so, because I've seen on the last day of the Premier League, teams that are at the bottom of the table and only need 1 point, a draw, to stay up, will play another team that is in the middle of the table, and it doesn't matter if they win or lose. And that team in the middle of the table will be like, nah, bruh, you going down. And just play the best game of the season and send a team that just needs a point to hang in there down. So I just think West Ham and Watford are going to go for it when they play.
I think it's a little bit easier for them as well because I think they're both safe.
Right, and that's why I think Norwich is going to go for it when they play Chelsea. They have nothing to lose, nothing to gain.
Because what happened at Chelsea and how angry Frank Lampard was at the game, I think they're going to just run through them 7-0. That's my prediction.
You know Chelsea's going to still have that same defense.
Nothing to worry about against Norwich, I'll tell you that.
It'd be interesting to see that Norwich side gets picked apart because a few players there I like Buendia. I really rate. I think he's decent. Aarons I like at fullback. I think Cantwell will probably stay in the Premier League.
For sure. Yeah.
There's a few good players in there.
Who do you think had the best braids this weekend, Cantwell or Traore?
Oh dear, Cantwell was looking like some kid, because lots of people here go on holiday to Spain. You see people they get their head done when they go on holiday, then come back like that.
Yeah, Cantwell looked like he spent the weekend with his black family. He was all braided up. It's like, you got the Traore, you and Traore go to the same hairdresser. What's going on here?
One thing we haven't mentioned though, and I it's good that I had it at the back of my mind because I was thinking about talking about this guy for a few weeks now, and we never did because I always forgot about it. Jay Rodriguez, your former Southampton guy, he had a horrific injury, and he's doing fine now.
Mm. Yeah, he's scoring goals. Burnley's like his hometown club as well. But before his bad injuries with us, he was doing really well. He got in the England squad. He was one of Pochettino's favourite players. Yeah. With us, him and Ricky Lambert worked really well up front together. So it's good to see him scoring again. He's a Premier League quality player for sure. Yeah,
he's good. I'm afraid of him because he scored such an amazing goal against us this season when Burnley came to Old Trafford to beat us.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
I was like, and he's like, come on, we should beat Burnley, but he scored like a wicked ass goal.
Yeah, so then he just dropped back down to the Championship. He went down with West Brom for a bit, right, and then scored goals there before he come back up with Burnley. So it looks
like he's back to his best, and then that was like 5-6 years ago. Right now, he looks great.
He's lethal. He's better than Welbeck.
Oh, 100%.
He's no Welbeck. He's no Long.
Let me ask you, Lee, one last thing though. Would you welcome back Lallana from Liverpool if there is opportunity?
I would, but I'm not sure most of our fans would.
Why?
Just the way he left. People turned on him.
Why? Like Southampton players leave, right? Southampton basically is a farm team. So why are they upset specifically over Lallana? It
was more the way he did it. It was one of those who first he said he was going to stay, and then he changed his mind, and then he wouldn't train and things like that. And just the way he handled it, the fans turned on him completely. But for me, I mean, he played for us from the youth team all the way through. Was part of some of our best years. Got us back from League One to the Premier League. So
he did that for you?
Yeah. I'm sensible enough to look at the bigger picture, but a lot of fans, rational thought doesn't accompany most of their feelings.
Is Lallana's because I get Lallana and Eric Lamont. What's his name? The other guy? Lamela. So Lallana is at where? Liverpool or Spurs?
Yeah. Liverpool. He's at Liverpool, yeah.
So he left to win a Champions League and Premier League.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he'll be fine.
He's a boyhood Everton fan as well, even though he's from the South Coast.
Oh, that's crazy.
He signed for Liverpool. But I mean, ability-wise, I would take him. But my only question would be injury proneness and whether we'd get the right amount of games out of him. But
right.
And also, I don't know if he can play how we play right now. That would be my only question. But
you guys are going to be dangerous next year if they get like some better scorers. Like if you get some scorers like Wolves has, and you apply that system that I saw today on us.
Ink is doing great.
Mm.
No, Ings, but you need a backup.
Armstrong and Redmond function perfectly in the midfield in that system as well.
Yeah,
Armstrong's really developing well with us.
Yeah. Redmond, where did he used to play? What position? Is this position different now?
He used to be a winger, but like
That's
he was
what
usually a winger in like a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. But he plays like an inside winger because Hasenhüttl's system is called a 4-2-2-2. So you've got two holding midfielders, two wingers that play like narrow, but press wide, and then two centre forwards as well. So he's one of the midfielders in that.
That was a great pass by him today on the
the little ball to the far post.
Yeah, and I was like, that's like one of our passes. Like that motherfucker. Yeah, so and Pep likes him, right?
Yeah. But I wouldn't see him going to City.
No. He's just he just gives him respect. That's cool. There's another player I wanted to bring up before I got out of here, but I can't remember who it is now. Yeah. But anybody want to say anything before we get out of here? There's a game tomorrow.
I want to say about the MLS because it's a complete.
Oh yeah.
I know it's insane. The restart of the MLS, the last civilized league in the world that didn't play yet, they restarted in Orlando, in ESPN Center. And so far, 2 teams already had to be eliminated because Dallas had 11 coronavirus cases and they had to bow out. They're still there, by the way, because they can't leave. They're quarantining, not at home. They're quarantining in the ESPN complex, but they can't play any games and they can't go back home. They're like Tom Hanks in this movie, The Terminal. Remember?
Well, they're actually like Tom Hanks and his wife in Australia.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So
FC Dallas, then a day after that, Nashville joined them in the list of teams that were eliminated from the tournament. Then for one day, DC United and Toronto were out, but they somehow got it back in and played the game. And it's like a Russian roulette in a way what's going on there.
Here's the crazy thing. Suppose they get down to the last 2 teams. And then right before the game, they check for the coronavirus, and one of the teams has 5 players with the virus. What do you do? Just after all that tournament, what did you just give the championship to the team with less corona?
Yeah,
is it like penalties? Is it like a corona off? Is this how this shit works?
That's exactly how it works, I guess. And right now, LAFC are playing the game, as a matter of fact. They started 30 minutes ago. But Carlos Vela, the best player in the league, before the tournament even began, said, "Hey, I'm sorry, guys, but I'm staying with my family at home. I'm not going there."
So he's not playing?
No.
Damn. All right.
Didn't go.
One story from here today, that I'll highlight is Wycombe Wanderers achieved promotion to the Championship from League One. They played the playoff final at Wembley tonight, but they got no money, and the way they play as well, like there's 24 teams in League One, and in terms of like possession and like passing stats, they're 23rd out of 24 in stats, but they've got promotion because they've got I don't know if you've heard of Adebayo Akinfenwa. He looks like a power lifter.
Oh, for real.
They've got him up front. He's huge. Like he doesn't look like a footballer. He looks like he should lift weights.
Is he black and kind of fat?
Yeah.
I think I saw him in an FA Cup like 2 years ago
against Liverpool for Wimbledon.
Yeah. So okay, I remember that guy.
So basically, they just get the ball and they just pump it up to him, but it works for them. But they beat Oxford in the League One playoff final. So for the first, I think it might be the first time, or in a lot of years for them, they've made the Championship with no budget, playing really unattractive football, but it's functional. It works for them.
Congrats, Wycombe Wanderers.
Listen, Brentford. Also a small team. They're very close of getting promotion to the Premier League.
Yeah, they're in 3rd place right now. I'd like to see them go up. They've just built a new stadium.
They won 7 games in a row, I think, right? They won like 7 games in a row. Right?
Yeah, I don't think they'll make automatic. I think Leeds and West Brom have got that sewn up. But it'll be interesting to see. I think there's 3 games left there as well. But yeah, I'd like Brentford to go up. They're
West Brom
they're
lost.
an interesting club.
So West Brom's definitely coming back?
Not definitely. They could still lose it. They play Fulham next, which is a big game.
All right.
But Leeds are pretty much certain to come back.
What's funny about West Brom? They're on the list of they've been to the Premier League 4 times, so they're the team that Norwich has passed for being relegated. So like they're basically setting themselves up to tie with Norwich next season to be like the only other team with like 5th relegations from the Premier League.
The clubs that always makes me think of are like Norwich, West Brom, and Derby. Derby are another club who've come up.
Yeah, Wolves has been up a bunch of times. Yeah, but this time they're like it's a different Wolves. Wolves hits different.
Mm-hmm.
So Leeds 84 points, West Brom is 81, and then Brentford is 78. And
they're safe.
6. So
it's 81 as who has 81?
West Brom 81, but Brentford is 78. So it's only 3 points.
Okay.
It's doable.
3 games left. Yeah, it's still doable.
All right.
I'd like to see Brentford get it over West Brom. I'd like to see a new team in the Premier League, but yeah, we'll see.
Who's behind Brentford?
Fulham, 76, so 2 points behind, and then
they've got West Brom next,
and then Cardiff.
Oh, Cardiff! Yeah, Cardiff's another team that hasn't been up in a minute. All right.
And then Swansea and Preston North End, and Millwall.
I would like to see Preston one day. That's like a train stop I've passed a lot. Are they like near Birmingham or in Birmingham?
No, they're near. They're sort of
Preston North End. Maybe it's a train when I'm in London or some shit. It's Preston North End. I don't know.
It's sort of like northwest of Manchester.
For some reason, I pass that train stop a lot.
It's right the way up north. I went there because Southampton played Preston pre-season, and I was visiting some friends in Liverpool, and I drove there. It wasn't very far from Liverpool either.
Oh, okay.
But they're a good side.
All right. Anything you want to plug, Lee, or talk about before we get out of here?
No, I might be getting some outdoor shows soon, but still all in the works. Nothing to confirm. So,
have you done any shows? Period?
I've done a couple of online ones, but it's just weird.
It's weird.
I need a stage and a microphone and a dark room.
It's hilarious. Are you being cautious? And what's England like right now, corona-wise?
It's opening up again. Like the bars opened on the 4th of July. People went crazy. But there hasn't been a spike yet, but I'm expecting it.
It's the only country in Europe that allows Americans, right, to fly in right now.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a good news for England.
Yeah, they're asking for it.
Yeah, but no, things are like, say, I went and watched a drive-in show because I was curious to see what that was going to be like. Daniel Sloss, I don't know if you know him, he was doing one, and it was just odd. People beeping their horns instead of laughing. It was strange.
It's funny, like comedy dynamics. Like they taped a lot of comedy specials, like like some of the best comics, and they taped a drive-in stand-up special with a bunch of I think it was all half hours. I'm not sure. Like Erica Rhodes and a bunch of other comics last night.
Yeah, it was the Rose Bowl, wasn't it?
Yeah, somewhere in Pasadena, but I don't know if it was the Rose Bowl or what it was. But I don't know. It's like you walk out, people are honking their horns, and it's like my thing is like, how are you gonna tell? What if while you're setting something up from a joke, after a joke, somebody's honking their horn, drowning out your setup, and then you say this punchline that nobody gets. Like I don't know if people had ear equipment in their car. I just don't know. Yeah,
it's weird, isn't it? Like if you're trying to like tag a joke or something and people are honking their horns, it's weird. So when I went, they gave you like an FM frequency that you dial in on the radio, so you have it come through the speakers. But it's just, it's just weird. It's not comedy.
Could you hear the comic the entire time, even if people are honking horns?
Yeah, well, yeah. If you turn the radio up enough and people around you aren't all doing it, then it's not too bad. But it just, the whole like dynamics of it, the whole setup of it, just didn't really do it for me.
How much were you able to pay attention to the show itself?
A fair amount. Yeah.
Did you get the sense that everybody in their cars was enjoying the show as much as possible, or were they distracted? Were they in and out? Like, how was it?
They seemed to. Like, there was people getting like pizza delivered to their cars and stuff. But I mean, that, I guess it happens in a club, doesn't it? You got people having food brought to their tables and stuff. So
yeah, you're performing in a parking lot that's a check spot. The whole show's a check spot.
Yeah, but yeah, the sooner live stuff can actually come back safely, the better.
I think LA's done for the year as far as like live performing.
Yeah.
They just closed everything today again.
Oh, they did? What did they say, Martin?
They closed everything. Bars, gyms, museums. It's a lockdown.
Back to square one?
Pretty much, yeah.
Back to square zero?
Yep.
Because I saw like the La Jolla Comedy Store had some shows for a couple of days, didn't they? And they got shut down again.
I heard about that. I want to go look online and see how that was. So, yeah, I want to check that out. Yeah.
I think they had like 2 or 3 nights and then the governor shut them down again.
Gavin said, no fun, baby. Shut it down. Shit. Martin, you got anything you want to plug or say? Explain yourself?
Yeah, this time I'm just gonna give my Instagram, which is Martin/HarrisLA, and my Twitter is Martin W Harris. So everything else will be there. I can plug more stuff when I know when it comes out, because some movies were rescheduled a few times already, so I don't want to give the information and then correct myself next week.
You think you can beat Newcastle, Martin?
Yeah, although, as I said, with Mourinho, you never know. If he puts our best defender on the bench for a month, then I don't know. So unfortunately, Eric Dyer's suspension will end soon. It's 2 games he already didn't play out of 4, and so only 2 more games with good defense, and then Eric Dyer probably will play again.
So we'll see. Lee, you think Southampton could beat Brighton Hove?
Yeah, we should do. Although they're safe as well now, so who knows what will happen? It will be a bit of a should be a lot of goals, I think. Just 2 teams going for it. And
Man United, we have Palace, which could be tricky, but now we should be angry. I just want to see how, if we're going to be a championship team, we have to respond to results like this, right? And so I want to find out who we are. I want to win, but I do want to find out who we are so that we can build a better team. So, all right. Guys, thank you. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm at Ian Edwards Comic. I'm also on Twitter at Ian Edwards Comic. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Lee. Lee, what time is it in the morning there?
It's like 1 a.m. right now.
All right, you're still celebrating the tie. You're good.
It would have been a bit bad if I had to stay up this late and come on and you beat us 5-0 or something.
Oh, that's what I wanted.
Sad, but
that's really what I wanted.
Yeah, it's worth staying up for.
It's hilarious. So thank you, Aaron Brungardt, All Things Comedy. Listen next week. Leave your comments on YouTube or just hit me up on Instagram. Love y'all. Be safe. 1.